I swear, from the first day I met Ethan, my best friend's older brother, I knew I was doomed. He had that classic teen drama look, messy dark hair, permanent hoodie, and the emotional depth of a puddle. I'd show up to hang out with his sister, secretly hopping to accidentally bump into him in the hallway. Spoiler alert, he barely knew I existed. I was just Vicky, the giggly one with braces. But I didn't care. I was in love. The kind that makes you doodle initials and stalk his social media like it's a full-time job. Don't lie, you've done it. One day, when I was 16, he came downstairs shirtless to grab cereal. I dropped my juice box. And that, my friends, was the exact moment I decided I was going to marry that man. It only took 10 years, mild stalking, and a tiny bit of deception. But we'll get there. Fast forward 10 years later. Braces gone, eyebrows tamed. I had a real skincare routine and a job that paid actual money, not babysitting his sister. I'd even convinced myself I was so over him. Until, plot twist, I saw him again. It was at a mutual friend's birthday party. I walked in, holding a cupcake tray like a confident adult woman, and there he was, Ethan, looking like a walking rom-com male lead who probably still didn't know my last name. He smiled at me. My brain immediately short-circuited. "Victoria," he said, sounding surprised. Oh, so he did remember my name. I managed a casual, "Hey, Ethan, long time," while internally screaming, "I love you, please marry me." We chatted for a bit, me trying to sound chill, him being his usual relaxed, charming self. Then he mentioned he didn't have a place to crash that night. Cue the evil plan forming in my head. "Hey," I said sweetly, "you can totally crash at my place, it's nearby." He smiled, "Are you sure?" "Oh, absolutely," I said. "I have beer." He grinned. Hook, line, and future husband. That night, I didn't just invite him over. I prepared for him. The beginning of the scam. You know how people say, love is about being yourself? Yeah, no, not tonight. If Ethan was coming over, myself needed a strategic upgrade. Step 1, research. Luckily, I had years of material. His sister used to rant about how obsessed he was with his college football team, his favorite band, his weird hatred for pineapple pizza, and his absolute devotion to one brand of beer that, in my humble opinion, tastes like carbonated regret. Step 2, stage the scene. My apartment became a shrine to coincidences. His team's t-shirt, casually tossed on the back of a chair. A CD of his favorite band, sitting on my nightstand, because of course I still listen to physical CDs like it's 2008. That gross beer, six-pack waiting in the fridge. I actually had to practice not gagging while opening one. Then I lit a candle, romantic but not too romantic. The kind that says I'm effortlessly cool, not I've been planning this since 2014. When he arrived, I pretended I'd totally forgotten he was coming. "Oh, hey, you made it," I said, wearing my best surprised but cute smile. He looked around, grinning. "Nice place. Wait, are you a Titans fan?" I shrugged, pretending not to care. "Oh, that old thing, my dad's shirt, I just kinda kept it." Hook, set. Line, dangling. Sinker, pending. He opened the fridge. "You drink this beer." "Of course, it's my favorite," I lied through my teeth. He laughed, didn't think anyone else liked it. "Oh, you'd be surprised," I said, mentally giving myself an Oscar. We stayed up talking until 2 a.m. He fell asleep on my couch. I sat there, grinning like a maniac. The scam was working. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. Not because I'm a morning person, please, but because I needed to make my apartment look like I hadn't staged it like a psychotic rom-com villain the night before. I tiptoed around, trying to move things just enough to look natural. The football shirt, maybe less folded, more thrown there. The CD, tilted a little like I just happened to be listening to it. The beer cans, okay, those looked too intentionally placed, so I drank one. At 7:00 a.m. He walked out of the guest room. Okay, technically my couch, just as I was halfway through pretending to stretch naturally next to the coffee table. "Morning," he said, his voice all raspy and unfairly hot. "Morning," I squeaked way too chipper. He looked around and smiled. "You know, it's kind of crazy. You've got all my favorite stuff here." Oh, God. "Abort mission. Abort." "Huh, what? No, totally random," I said way too fast. "I just like, normal things that totally other people like too." He raised an eyebrow, amused. "Right, the Titans, the avalanches, and old brick lager." I nodded vigorously. "Exactly, I'm super unique and normal." He laughed, and sat down at my kitchen counter. "You're funny, Vic, you always were." That word, always, hit me right in the teenage crush. We had breakfast together. I made pancakes. He made fun of my pancake shapes. Is that supposed to be a dog or a blob? And for the first time, it didn't feel like a scam. Somewhere between laughing at my cooking and fighting over syrup, I realized something terrifying. He might actually be falling for me. And somehow, I was even more in love with him than before. It started innocent enough. We were just two adults hanging out, eating, laughing, bonding over shared interests. Read, things I had aggressively researched 2 nights before. But then came the flirting. You know, the kind where your voice drops half an octave, and every sentence somehow becomes a compliment in disguise. "Did you always have that dimple?" he asked one night while we were watching a movie. "Oh, you mean this old thing," I said, pretending to be cool while mentally screaming into a pillow. We were bantering, teasing, talking late into the night about everything and nothing. He told me about his job, his bad coffee addiction, how he once tried to fix his car with YouTube tutorials and set off the airbag instead. I laughed so hard I snorted. He grinned and said, "You're fun to be around." You're fun to be around. Translation, I might be starting to like you. Cue heart explosion, collision. Except there was one problem. He thought we had all this in common. Same music taste, same hobbies, same beer preference, still gross. I was in too deep. If I told him the truth now, he'd think I was a total manipulative weirdo. So I doubled down. We started texting every day. Inside jokes, memes, even little nicknames. He called me Trouble. I called him Coach, because he once yelled at a TV football game like he was personally employed by the team. One night he sent, "You know, I can't tell if you're actually this perfect or if you've been studying me." I stared at my phone, panicking. Was this a joke, a test? Did he know? I replied, "Maybe a little of both," winking face. He responded with, "Then keep studying, you're doing great." I almost fainted. The scam was still on, but maybe, just maybe, it wasn't fake anymore. If you think love is hard, try falling for your best friend's older brother while actively lying about your entire personality. Because guess who texted me one morning? "Hey Vic, Ethan mentioned you two have been hanging out, eyes spill everything." It was Sophie. Ethan's little sister, my old partner in crime, the one person who knew exactly how long I'd been in love with her brother. I panicked. Do I confess, pretend it's casual, move to another country? I typed back, "It's nothing serious, lol. We just get along, haha. Anyway, how's your cat?" She replied 5 seconds later, "You've been in love with him since 2009. Don't play with me." Okay, busted. We met for coffee that afternoon. Sophie sat across from me with the smuggest grin I've ever seen. "So," she said, sipping her latte, "how, Operation Marry My Brother going?" I groaned. "Sophie, don't call it that." "But it is that," she said, laughing. "You literally used my teenage sleepovers to study his personality." "That was research," I protested. "For what? A PhD in delusional romance." She teased me mercilessly, but then she smiled. "Honestly, Vic, he's happy. I've never seen him like this before." My heart melted. Really? Yeah, she said, leaning in. He even told Mom he's been seeing someone amazing. I nearly fell out of my chair. But of course, Sophie couldn't leave well enough alone. At the next family barbecue, she decided to help. Ethan, she shouted across the yard. Did you know Victoria's favorite beer is Old Brick Lager too? Is that such a coincidence? I almost choked on my burger. He looked over, smiling. Yeah, she told me that. Sophie winked at me behind his back, like an evil little Cupid. Later, she whispered, Don't worry, I've got your back. My back didn't feel very got. But when Ethan put his arm around me that night, laughing and calling me his favorite coincidence, I realized Sophie might have actually helped more than she hurt. I swear, I meant to tell him. The truth, I mean, about how I may or may not have staged my entire apartment to look like a mirror image of his personality. Because by now, Ethan and I were officially a thing. Dates, cuddles, goodnight kisses. The whole we're not labeling it, but everyone knows we're in love thing. And honestly, it was perfect. Too perfect. Which is exactly when guilt decided to kick down the door like an uninvited guest. So one night, while we were sitting on my couch, our couch now basically, I decided it was time. He had his arm around me, and we were watching one of those deep, emotional movies where someone dies at the end. Perfect setting for honesty, right? Ethan, I said quietly. He looked down, all soft and sweet. Yeah. I have to tell you something. He muted the movie. Okay, scary. Go on, he said, smiling gently. My heart was pounding. I could feel the sweat on my palms. I just want to be honest, I started. When we reconnected, I may have, kind of slightly. Bang. The door flew open. Surprise. It was Sophie. With cupcakes. At 10 p.m. Movie night, she yelled, plopping onto the couch between us. I brought the good frosting ones. Ethan laughed. I wanted to cry. Sophie noticed my look of horror. Oh, were you guys talking about something serious? I gave her the deadliest smile I could manage. Not anymore. Ethan just chuckled. It's fine, we can talk later. Later became never, because the three of us ended up watching movies, eating cupcakes, and laughing until midnight. By the time Ethan left, my big confession had turned into a distant dream. As I stood by the door waving goodbye, he kissed my forehead and said, You're something else, Victoria. And I whispered under my breath as he walked away. You have no idea. It all started with one stupid beer. The same beer I had pretended to love since day one, Old Brick Lager. AKA, the liquid embodiment of regret. By this point, Ethan and I were officially dating. Meet the parents level. Matching toothbrushes level. My scam had somehow turned into true love. Except, there was always that one little lie bubbling underneath the surface. So when he came home one night, holding a six-pack of that cursed drink, I plastered on my yay beer. Smile. Thought I'd surprise you, he said, kissing my cheek. You always say you love this stuff. Haha, yup, love it. Can't get enough, I said, while my soul screamed for sparkling water. He cracked open a can, handed it to me, and sat down next to me on the couch. I took one sip, and instantly gagged. Ethan blinked. You okay? I coughed. Oh yeah, totally, just went down the wrong pipe. You didn't even swallow. Yep, because, bubbles. Dangerous things, bubbles. He narrowed his eyes, amused but suspicious. Wait, do you even like Old Brick Lager? I froze. The world stopped spinning. The air thickened. This was it, my scam, exposed by a $4 beer. I tried to recover. I mean, it's not my favorite, but... He tilted his head, smirking. You told me it was your favorite. Yeah, well, people grow. Change, evolve, beer tastes are fluid. He laughed, but then looked at me seriously. You're acting weird. What's going on? My brain was screaming, tell him now. But my mouth said, nothing, want a pancake. A classic panic move. He sighed, smiling softly. You're hiding something, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's ridiculous. Then he kissed my forehead and said, You're too cute to be lying about beer anyway. Oh, Ethan. If only you knew how deep the rabbit hole went. You know that feeling when you've told a lie, so small it snowballs into a full-blown avalanche. Yeah, that was me, buried alive under 10 feet of old brick lager guilt. Every time Ethan said something sweet, my conscience screamed. When he called me my perfect match, my brain went, No, you're not, you fraud with a beer phobia. When he posted a photo captioned soulmates, I almost commented technically soul scammer, but thankfully didn't. I tried so many times to confess. Attempt 1, during dinner. I opened my mouth to tell him everything, right as the waiter brought the check and said, Happy anniversary. Ethan grinned. I chickened out. Attempt 2, during a car ride. I started with, So there's something you should know. He turned up the radio, the song, our song. Boom, instant emotional hostage situation. Attempt 3, at his sister Sophie's place. She winked at me and whispered, Did you tell him yet? I whispered back, I'm trying. Ethan walked in. Sophie loudly said, Tell him what? I stared into the void. Eventually, I just gave up and decided to be a better girlfriend to make up for my crimes. I planned surprise dates, learned actual football terms, and even tried to genuinely like old brick lager spoiler. Still terrible. But the guilt kept eating at me, especially one night when Ethan said, I love how you're into everything I love. It's like we were meant to find each other. That line hit me like a truck full of truth serum. I smiled and said, Yeah, total destiny, while my inner voice screamed. Victoria, confess, now, before you have to admit this in your vows. Of course, I had no idea that's exactly what would happen. When people talk about the perfect proposal, they imagine candlelight, roses, and maybe a sunset. Me, I got ambushed by romance while holding a half-eaten taco. It was a Friday night. We were having takeout on my balcony, watching the city lights. I was mid-rant about how guacamole should always be free when Ethan suddenly went quiet. Like too quiet. I looked over. He was staring at me, soft smile, eyes a little shiny. My immediate thought, oh no, he's either about to break up with me or say something life-altering. Victoria, he said gently, taking my hand. Yeah, I replied, trying not to choke on tortilla. I used to think I'd never meet someone who truly got me, who liked the same dumb music, cheered for my hopeless football team, and even pretended to enjoy my terrible beer. Pretended. My soul left my body. Then he reached into his pocket. My breath froze. Ethan. He got down on one knee. Wait, what? He smiled, eyes glimmering. I love you, completely, even if you've been faking it this whole time. My brain, blue screen of death. I stammered, W what? He laughed. Relax, Trouble, I know you hate the beer. Sophie told me months ago. Sophie, I'm going to kill you. But, he continued, the fact that you tried, the fact that you went out of your way to care about the things I love, made me fall for you even harder. He opened the box. A simple, beautiful ring. Marry me, scam artist. I burst into tears, the ugly, hiccupy kind. Yes, I blurted, half laughing, half sobbing. I mean, yes, but also wait, you knew. He grinned. Vic, you left the price tag on the Titan's shirt. You're many things, but subtle isn't one of them. We both started laughing, so hard the taco fell out of my hand. It was the most chaotic, imperfect, perfect moment of my life. Wedding day. I had a beautiful dress, perfect hair, and a speech I thought was charming and romantic. Except, my conscience had other plans. Standing at the altar, looking at Ethan, all handsome, perfectly tailored suit, trying not to notice how sweaty my hands were, I realized I couldn't do it. I couldn't let him think our love story was entirely normal. So I took a deep breath, clutched the microphone, and went for it. Ethan, I started, voice shaking. From the moment I met you, I've loved you, but I have a confession. Everyone leaned in. Bridesmaids, groomsmen, my mother-in-law, random Aunt Carol from 3 states over. I sort of, totally staged a bunch of things to make you like me. Gasps. Mouths dropped. Sophie clapped quietly, smirking. I left your favorite beer in the fridge, put your football shirt on the chair, and yes, even your CD on my nightstand. I did it because I was in love with you, and I didn't think I had a chance otherwise. I paused, expecting him to frown, look horrified, maybe run out of the church. Instead, Ethan laughed. A deep, warm laugh that made my knees weak. You absolute maniac, he said, grinning. You staged all that and I didn't even notice half of it. Honestly, I loved it, you. The crowd melted. I melted. My bridesmaids cried. Sophie high-fived me. I'm marrying the girl who went full rom-com for me, Ethan said, taking my hands. And I'm marrying the guy who's seen me at my weirdest, laughed, and still wanted me anyway, I said. The officiant nodded. Well, I think that's as honest as wedding vows get. You may now kiss the perfect scam artist. We kissed. And honestly, it was everything. Chaotic, awkward, totally romantic, perfect. Marriage, I quickly discovered, was like a sitcom with extra episodes I didn't sign up for. Step 1, living together. Step 2, realizing Ethan loved to mess with me almost as much as I had staged our first date. Example, I spent an hour carefully arranging the pantry so all his snacks were within reach. Next morning, I opened it to find the cans rearranged by size, not category. Really? I groaned. He grinned. It's art, Vic, abstract snack art. Then there was the time I tried to make our first anniversary breakfast Instagram-worthy. I had pancakes shaped like hearts, syrup drizzled just so, flowers in a vase. He came in wearing a football helmet, holding a beer, and said, "Breakfast Victoria style is overrated. Mine's better." He poured the beer on my pancakes. I cried. I laughed. We both cried, laughed. Evenings were spent binging movies, debating music tastes. I finally admitted I hated Old Brick Lager, and arguing over whose turn it was to walk the dog. But despite all the chaos, there was love everywhere. In stolen kisses by the fridge. In his arms, while laughing at my disastrous Pinterest-inspired DIYs. In the quiet nights, where we didn't talk at all and just existed together. I realized something important. All the staging, the scam, the chaos, it didn't matter anymore. Because Ethan had fallen for me, not my little tricks. And honestly, I was totally, hopelessly in love with him. The perfect scam had turned into the perfect life. Being married was one thing. Being married with both families involved. A whole different level of rom-com disaster. First, Sophie decided it was her duty to give me a marriage survival guide. Step 1, always let Ethan win arguments about football. Step 2, secretly rearrange his pantry just to remind him who's boss. Step 3, laugh at him when he falls for your pranks or else. Then there was his mom, who insisted on weekly family dinners, where I had to pretend I knew the difference between a linebacker and a wide receiver. I once nodded enthusiastically while Ethan's dad explained. That, called a blitz, Vic. Wow, very blitzy, I said, secretly Googling it under the table. Meanwhile, my own friends decided to help with marriage advice, which usually ended with me eating chocolate straight from the jar and listening to horror stories about their own relationships. It builds character, they'd say. No, it builds panic attacks. Of course, Ethan didn't let me have all the chaos. He replaced my shampoo with glitter once. He put googly eyes on all my office supplies. He left sticky notes all over the bathroom mirror with messages like, "Beware the scam bride." I screamed. He laughed. We kissed. All is normal. Through all of it, though, I realized something. Marriage with him wasn't about perfection. It was about laughter, chaos, tiny victories, shared secrets, And somehow, despite the glitter, pantry rearrangements, and old brick lager incidents, it was perfect. Anniversary number 1. I thought it would be cute. Romantic dinner, candles, soft music, maybe a slightly dramatic toast about our perfect, chaotic love. Ethan thought differently. He arrived holding a box, labeled surprise, scam bride. Inside, a small rubber snake. A note, for the woman who staged her way into my heart. Revenge begins. Oh, it was on. I retaliated by replacing his car horn with a recording of my own voice yelling, Victoria WANS. He drove around the block, honking at himself. I laughed until my face hurt. Then he hid my phone in the freezer. I filled his shoes with glitter. He replaced my toothpaste with whipped cream. I glued googly eyes onto his cereal boxes. By the end of the day, we were both exhausted, covered in glitter, sticky cream, and mild panic. We collapsed on the couch, laughing so hard I cried. "You're insane," Ethan said, still giggling. "You're worse," I shot back. He kissed me, glitter sticking to both our lips. I wouldn't have it any other way. And honestly, neither would I. Marriage wasn't just love or loyalty, it was laughter, chaos, silly, ridiculous, heart-fluttering chaos. Years passed. We bought a house, decorated it with a mix of romantic chic and prankster chaos. Ethan had his corner for football memorabilia. I had mine for books and strategically placed objects that look like I don't care but secretly manipulate life. We still argued, mostly about who ate the last cookie or whether a prank was fair. We still laughed, hard, loud, often in public. Sophie occasionally joined in, usually armed with glitter or embarrassing stories from our wedding day. Friends warned us that we'd get tired of each other. Spoiler, never happened. On lazy Sunday mornings, we'd make pancakes together, laughing when syrup inevitably dripped on the counter. At night, we'd watch movies cuddled up on the couch, sometimes with prank weapons within reach. Sometimes we'd stare at each other and whisper, "Remember the old brick lager?" And we'd laugh all over again. Because the truth was simple. I scammed him once. He teased me endlessly about it. And somehow all the tricks, the chaos, the staged coincidences, led us to exactly where we were meant to be. A house full of laughter. A life full of love. And a marriage where every day was a little bit of harmless mischief. The perfect continuation of a scam that somehow became real love. We were perfect for each other. Crazy, chaotic, slightly dishonest about beer preferences. But completely, undeniably ours.